That's a story about Phoebe Prince. When she was 15, she was showing her breast to a 49-year-old man, and he sent those pictures to her family and to her friends, and she was tormented at school by her peers. She was kicked around, called a whore, and finally she couldn't take it, and on January 10th, 2010, she went home and hung herself. And Abby Johnson, from the time she was in the 4th grade, was tormented, teased because she had a stuttering problem. And when she got home, she was 14 years old. She made a video to her mom and to tell her goodbye, and she went ahead and stabbed herself in the chest and committed suicide, died instantly. Joe Morales, 12-year-old, went home after being tormented for years from the time he was in the 4th grade because he was little, and when he was 12 years old he went home and hung himself. Bullying is a problem in the United States. 32% of students report that they bullied someone, and 59 to 70% of students reported that they had been bullied in the U.S. Also, one-third of all students are afraid to go to school in the United States because they're afraid that there's going to be some type of violence or they're going to be harmed in some way. Every 7 seconds a student gets bullied in the United States. Hello, my name is Rick Rangel, and I'm a graduate student at Lubbock Christian University. This video is directed to school administrators, teachers, and their staff. Students can't focus on their schoolwork because they're afraid of their bullies. They're afraid that they're going to be targeted any day at any time during school. Teachers have a hard time teaching. They get frustrated because they're disrupted by the bullies, and they have to babysit the students instead of teaching them their academic schoolwork. Administrators are worried that their schools are, in jeopardy of being sued. The purpose of this presentation is to increase awareness to educators and also to help them have effective action to reduce bullying. The goal of this presentation is to offer educators solutions and to help them make more effective programs in their school districts so that they can reduce the bullying incidents and to protect victims in the school district, and also to lower the number of schools that are being expelled. Okay? And also to explore the relationship between self-esteem and the reduction of bullying. The objective here is to teach all students strategies that will empower them to handle bullying situations on an individual basis and also on a group basis. When you empower students, then you can help them take responsibility for their own safety and well-being. I believe that there is a correlation between high self-esteem and the lowering of bullying. The higher the self-esteem, the less likely that they will be bullied because they're going to be able to handle situations more effectively. Bullying is characterized as a repeated, deliberate, aggressive acts that are physically, verbal, and indirect in nature, that involves an imbalance of power such that it is difficult for the victim to defend him or herself. Involvement in bullying or being a victim, or both, has related to many negative psychological outcomes, including increased emotional distress, externalizing behaviors, and poor interpersonal functioning. Bullying experiences must be well understood so that appropriate intervention and prevention programs can be developed. What are the consequences of not having an intervention? Students that are both bullies and targets don't do well in school. The problem's not going to go away. Students that do nothing about the bullying incident the bystanders feel guilty, and then they can't concentrate either. Teachers get frustrated because they cannot conduct a productive class. The district loses great teachers because they get evaluated poorly because they have to spend a lot of time with the disruption of the bullies. The teachers also get worried about being sued. If they see an incident and don't report it, then they can be sued for not reporting the abuse. Okay. The Office of Civil Rights, OCR, enforces several federal civil rights laws that prohibit discrimination in programs of activities that receive federal funds from the Department of Education. School districts are getting sued because of not implementing anti-bullying programs. In the Phoebe Princess case, several students were prosecuted for bullying. States are putting the responsibility on school districts. Also, 61% of voters in America approve of making bullying a crime. Some solutions that we may offer here are Frank Tremana and Brownlee 2013 introduced Positive Youth Development. This is a strength-based program where they teach students high self-regard. They teach them how to handle situations, bullying situations, coping skills. They teach them techniques on how to avoid confrontations. They also teach them techniques as to how to keep themselves safe, like hanging out with 2 or 3 people, going in groups to places. Also telling teachers, hey, when something's up, tell an adult. Okay. Also, Robles, Pena, and Denham 2012 believe that campus police should be educated better trained, so that less students are expelled from school. For instance, they teach the officers on campus what to look for, to be spontaneous, to go to different places that students may be hiding out, to also counsel the students as far as to not just tell them that they're going to go to jail, but also that, how it may affect them in the future if they continue doing that behavior. Coleman 2013 says that all of these anti-bullying laws are not working, and he says that the reason that they're not working is because they're being treated like criminals, and all of these anti-programs that are brought down from the federal government, the states, and the school districts with no tolerance perspective are actually making the situation worse. What they're doing is they're labeling the bully, they're isolating the bully, they're already prosecuting the bully, and instead of deterring the problem, they're actually exacerbating the problem by because the bully is retaliating with other students or with teachers, or retaliating in some way. And that's why we've had some of the problems that we've had in some of the school districts where there's shootings, because these people feel isolated, whether it's the bully or the victim. They feel isolated and they're helpless and hopeless, and they feel like they're on their own, so they decide to retaliate. In 1983 in Norway, 3 students committed suicide because of bullying. And Dan Olvas, a professor there in Norway, came up with this program called the Olvas Bullying Prevention Program. This is the most comprehensive, thorough, the most studied program in the world. This program involves the students, training the students, the entire school district, the community. It involves everyone, and it's at different levels. What we're going to look at is at the school level components. The first thing that the Olvas program does is it establishes a bullying prevention coordinating committee. They put together what their plan is. They usually start off with a kickoff. The entire school district has a kickoff that this is what the program is, this is what's going to happen. They have an assembly. They tell everybody at each school campus exactly what is the objective of having the anti-bullying program. What it does, it first of all lets bullies know that they're going to be watched closer. It lets it actually changes the whole culture of the school district. And that's the whole idea of this program. It doesn't happen overnight, but what happens is the more that they work on this program and implement this program, then the more effective it becomes as the culture changes. You know, what they do is, first thing they do is they conduct meetings with the staff. They train the staff, the teachers, what to look for, you know, for instance, they can tell bullies by certain traits. You know, they get sent to the principal quite often. They end up with extra money or extra things that don't belong to them. And people are afraid to hang out with them, so they start seeing these things. And also, the teachers also look out for victims. You know, when they have bruises, you know, unexpected bruises, or their clothes are torn, they're withdrawn, they're afraid to get involved in anything, and they just become introverted. So the teachers are taught to look into that so that they can actually identify these students and watch out to see how they can help them. The administrator of the program, what they do is they administer a what's called the OVAS prevention coordinating, it's called the OVAS questionnaire, bullying questionnaire. And what they do is they have what's called a self-report. All the students fill out the program between grades 3 to 12, and they report the incidents of being bullied, what they think bullying is, and if they've either been a victim or have been a bully themselves, or both. Some victims become bullies. They get picked on, and then they pick on somebody smaller than them. So what they do is they take this questionnaire and they find out what the levels are at the beginning of the program. When they administer that, then they get the you know, whether the school district has a 32% of bullying, maybe 70% of reported bullying. So it's always going to be a disparity there, because there's some of the bullies aren't going to report because they probably think that they can tell who put that in there. So there's a lot of on self-reporting, there's, you know, that's usually underreported. Also, at the school level, they hold a staff discussion group meetings with the different campuses, the teachers, the principals. They even have the janitors involved so that they can watch out. You know, that they make the janitors strategic, go into different places, also different bathrooms, corners where the kids can go smoking, or at a hidden place where they can go beat up someone. So they have everybody in the school district is involved in this program. And they also introduce the school with the rules against bullying. They tell them exactly what is involved, the no tolerance. The kids don't get spanked, but they do get reprimanded. And if they have to, then, you know, they do expel them, but that is the last resort. Okay. They also review and refine the school's supervision system to see whether it's working, you know, from time to time, whether it's each semester or each school year. They reevaluate themselves to see what they could have done better, what they could have improved on. Also, on the classroom level, what they do is they post and enforce school-wide rules against bullying. They have them, they discuss them in class. Each teacher discusses how they feel about it and what they expect the children. They ask the children they engage the children by asking them, you know, to say how they feel about it, what they can do, and how you know, how they can avoid from being bullied. At the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the program, they hold a school-wide program, like I said, and launch the program. But they also involve the parents. Have the parents there so that the parents can kind of start identifying some of these things, because most kids don't even tell their parents because they're afraid. If they tell their parents go and tell the principal, then they get beat up again. So they don't even tell their parents. That's when the students get in danger and become more isolated. So they want the parents to be able to identify these things like the teachers do. Okay, right. Now, on the individual level, supervision of the students' activities, like I said, every school member, even the cafeteria people, are watching, walking up and down the aisles, picking up trash and stuff, rather than just staying behind the counter and talking. Now they're going to engage in supervising the kids in the lunchroom, because 32% of the times that they're being bullied is in the lunchroom also. By throwing food or kicking under the tables, things like that, where teachers can't usually see. Okay, so what they're doing is they're actually helping the teachers by having more than one person supervise 200 or 300 kids during the lunch hour. So that's impossible to do. So what they're doing is they're helping the teachers and also keeping the students safe. Okay. One of the things that what they do when they bring the parents in, let's say there is an incident, what they do is, instead of shaming the student, they try to find out what is the root of this. Is it something that's modeling, what they call modeling, or is it something that they're getting from their parents or their older brother or sister that's bullying them? Are they just repeating what they're learned? Or is it that maybe they have a problem? Maybe their parents are going through a divorce and they just feel like lashing out at somebody. The thing is that the school district wants to help the individual student find out what the root problem is, engage the parents so that they can help them solve it at home and at school. And also, when you expose a problem like that, then it may help the parents see that maybe there is a problem in the home and maybe there's something they need to do about that so that they can correct that. On the community level, this is the final level of the OVA's bullying program. What they do is they involve the community. They start going out, involving counselors, volunteers, certain agencies, maybe the United Way, maybe the Boy Scouts, maybe mentoring groups. And what they do is they involve them to come get involved with the students, whether it's to help them read, to walk up and down the cafeterias, to walk on the campus, to help the teachers for an hour, whether it is to hand out paper and things like that. And the reason for this is the more adults involved and engaged, the whole community, now you're not just changing the culture in the school, but you're changing the whole culture in that community. So it's really important to get everybody involved so that the whole culture changes, and it's not just reprimanding the bully and not doing anything about the root of the problem. Okay. This program is a no bullying system. It is on nobully.com, and this program is what I would like to recommend the school district to seriously take a look at. It has 4 steps to stop bullying. Level 1, it's called the prevention interruption phase, where all staff and campus prevent and interrupt student harassments and bullying. Step 2, they check in and refer to the solution coach. In other words, when a student is the victim, or they call them targets here, they send them to a solution coach. They may send the bully to another solution coach. But what they do actually with the bully is they send them to level 3, which is they send them to a solution team. The solution team is made up of their peers. And what they do is they discuss what happened. They say, we're not mad at you, you're not in trouble. What happened? Why did this happen? And they empathize with each other, and they help the student, and then the student can see why they actually behaved in a detrimental way. Level 4 is they implement an empathy building action plan. What they do here is they're also changing the culture. It's going to take time to change this culture also, because everybody has to buy into it. Again, all the adults are included in this program. The parents, all the school employees are also involved in this, like they are on the Always bullying program. On this program, if the problem continues to happen, let's say there's prejudice or continued harassment, then the student is taken out to a counselor and maybe evaluated, see if there's any other problems, find out the root of the problems. What I like about this program is, first of all, the Always program is very expensive. It costs millions of dollars to implement, whereas this program costs thousands of dollars, but it is more effective, in my opinion, program. And the reason for that is because what they believe is that all humans have empathy and all humans care and have a desire to care. And when they get to the root of the problem, they help individual kids understand that they're not alone, that they're not isolated, whether this is a bully or the victim. They let them know that they're not isolated, and that they're not helpless, and that they're there for them. When this happens, I've read a couple of the programs on the website, and some of the students that actually did the bullying, after they were treated so good, they started crying because they couldn't believe they were treated with kindness and acceptance, even after they did bad behavior. So what happened is that they started wanting to be part of the in crowd, and the in crowd was the solution team, which meant that all their peers were on their side. They were on the victim side and they were on the bully side. They just wanted people to get along. Okay, so this program is very effective. The way it's implemented is all the staff has to go through a 3 to 5 hour training, and then they have what's called a solution coach. What they do, that solution coach goes through basically a 16-hour training program, and they actually have several what they call solution leaders. And what they do is they usually have about 16 throughout the campus, or basically one solution coach in each campus. And what they do is this solution coach, if for some reason they can't, the solution team cannot fix the problem or deter the bullying, then the student, whether it's the victim or the bully, go to the solution coach. The solution coach also they don't get spanking, they don't get humiliated or just kicked out of school. What they do is they work with them to try to help them get to the root of the problem, and also so they can remove the bullying. This program has been very effective in California. They have several school districts that love this program. They've reduced some of the schools up to 36%. After the second year, they've reduced the bullying incidents by 36%. Very effective. They have part of the program that's called Code Red. What that stands for is responsibility, taking responsibility for yourself, empathy, show awareness and care for others, and differences. Value differences in others and dare to be different. This changing of the culture is like the Always. It's going to take time, but every adult involved, parents, students, administrators, all have to buy into this program, and all have to be part and engaged in this program for it to be effective. And with this Code Red, everybody lives by a code, and they feel like they're part of a unique group by living by this code. What I propose to do is this code, what it does is you can measure the whole school district and tell whether the school has improved or not, or whether the district has improved or not. What I propose to do is break it down to individuals. What I would like to do is basically get a control group in the school district, and also an intervention group where we still do the OVAS bullying questionnaire, and also we want to do a self-esteem questionnaire. We want to do it at the beginning of the school year, apply both tests to the students, and at the end of the year, of each year, also give them a second test, and also find out during this time these students will be taught strategies like in the OVAS where they're going to become more effective. They're going to be able to handle more problems, more coping skills. They're going to learn strategies, maybe self-defense skills, maybe flight skills. If they don't want to get beat up, just run, whatever. There's also a program where they can students can report anonymously. They can report bullying with their cell phones, and nobody would know who turned them in. If that's where they need to do, just to have certain strategies. They're going to give them all kinds of strategies so that the children can protect themselves when there's not an adult there that can protect them. And also with these strategies, with the education, with the solution teams and solution coaches, keeping this at the forefront of the school district, at the culture, that anti-bullying is a problem and it is going to be addressed constantly, then we believe that the self-esteem of the students is going to rise, and because of the culture, because of their self-esteem, then the bullying incidences, in my opinion, are going to lower. So I propose that school district allow me to have a control group, an intervention group, and apply these questionnaires, these measures, and find out if in fact there is a relationship between the higher the self-esteem, the lower the bullying incidents, because these children, we're going to make them self-sufficient, where they can protect themselves and others respect them, they can respect each other, and they can come up with a better way so that they can learn more at school, be comfortable at school, be happy at school, and most of all, be safe. Thank you very much.